Hi, my name is Brian Phillips, and I'm an intellectual property attorney in the Raleigh office of the law firm K&L Gates. I help artists protect and make money from their work through licensing, and that's what I'm here to talk about today. So what is licensing? Well, licensing generally is when an artist gives a company permission to use or do something with that artist's work. The artist or owner of the work is also known as the licensor, and the company that's using the artist's work is known as the licensee. Some examples of artists licensing their work could be a photographer who gives a book publishing company permission to use her photo for the cover of a book. Could be a musician who licenses their song to a network for use in the network sitcom, or it could be an illustrator granting a license to a greeting card company to use that illustrator's character for a series of greeting cards. So what are some benefits of licensing? Well, one is it brings supplemental income to an artist. So there's a revenue stream in times when sales of prints are slow, or when fans are no longer downloading your song because they can simply stream it. Another benefit is increased exposure to an artist's work. So increased exposure would lead to increased sales, which leads to increased value for your brand. And another benefit would be simply pride of ownership. I mean, it's really cool to see your art being used and associated with products and companies that you like. So where do you begin in licensing your work? Well, first of all, you need to understand the licensing industry. And thankfully, with the internet and the information age, there are tons of books and blogs and discussion boards that you can get this information from. So once you understand a little bit about the industry, you want to identify specific opportunities that are relevant to you and your art. So, what are the companies or products that you want your art to be associated with? And what companies would your art help sell more products or services? And so, for example, if you're a photographer that primarily photographs babies or kids, you want to focus on companies that sell products for babies and kids. You likely won't have much success if you're trying to license to a craft beer brewery, for example. Another place to begin after you've understood the industry and identified the opportunities, you then want to network and connect, either through traditional social media networks, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, at industry events or trade shows, or finally, if you need someone else to help do some of the legwork or make connections, you can always engage a licensing agent. What are some legal considerations to think about when considering licensing your artwork? Well, first, you should consider copywriting, trademarking, or otherwise protecting your work. This is going to give you leverage in negotiations with a licensee. It'll increase your value or perceived value for the work, and also it's going to protect your work from being stolen or otherwise used without you getting paid. Another consideration is forming a legal entity that would sign the license agreement with the licensee. This can help protect your personal assets, so in other words, your family's checking account from a lawsuit or other issues that may arise down the road. And finally, it's always a good idea to have an experienced attorney review your license agreements before signing them. It can help identify red flags and mitigate other issues that may come down the road. So there's some key terms to consider when reviewing and negotiating your license agreement. First of all, it's going to be exclusivity. So in other words, will your art be associated with one product or company or unlimited products and companies? Obviously, there's pros and cons to both approaches, so that'll be something to consider when negotiating that agreement. Another key term is the duration of the agreement. How many years will your work be associated with that product or company? $1 million consideration is the royalties. How much money are you going to make on sales of products that use your artwork? And will those royalties be based on net sales or gross sales? And finally, the ownership of work product. If the company or the product requires any modifications to your work, will you end up owning that? So licensing can be a fantastic opportunity for an artist to make more money, gain more exposure, and grow his or her brand. Hopefully this information will help you be successful licensing your art.